The enigmatic Maya civilization still holds many secrets. In this text, we'll peel back the curtain on the daily lives of Maya women, discover why being a Maya queen wasn't always appealing, and delve into some of the most intriguing aspects of their culture. 1. Maya queens, warriors and keepers of tradition. At the center of our attention is Lady Cable, whose name can be translated as Lady Water Lily Hand. She belonged to the powerful and mysterious dynasty of the Snake Kings, and her title, Lady Snake, Lord emphasized her connection to this influential lineage. As the daughter of the King of Calakmul, Yugnum Yachak Kak, Lady Cable was married to the ruler of the city-state of Waka. Lady Cable's life was full of challenges, especially during the irreconcilable struggle between her native Calakmul and Tikal. This rivalry divided the entire Maya civilization into two opposing camps. Although the Snake Kings of Calakmul had won in 562 CE, by 695 CE, Tikal had revived and gone on the offensive. At this critical moment, the fate of Waka depended on Lady Cable. 2. The afterlife and ancestor worship. The Maya greatly feared death, imagining the afterlife, Xibalba, as a 9-layered realm of horrors where the deceased face trials. Unlike other cultures where death meant a transition to a better world, the Maya believed that in Xibalba, one had to atone for their earthly sins. However, the Maya treated their deceased relatives with great reverence. Ordinary people were buried directly beneath the floors of their homes, with food and jade beads placed in their mouths. Aristocrats were cremated, and during the Quiche dynasty, there was even a custom of keeping the heads of deceased rulers in a family sanctuary and feeding them regularly. Ancestors, it was believed, helped the living and resided in specific mountains, awaiting offerings from their descendants. 3. Maya beauty ideals, maze heads and crossed eyes. Maya notions of beauty differed radically from ours. Lady Cable, considered a true beauty, had crossed eyes and a deformed, maze-shaped head. To achieve this effect, infants' heads were pressed between two boards. Another sign of aristocracy was strabismus, crossed eyes, which was also achieved artificially. For both sexes, the front teeth were filed, creating intricate patterns. Maize, as a staple food, was a symbol of life, and perhaps that's why a maze-shaped head was considered ideal. 4. The role of women in Maya society, labor and weaving. The lives of common women were not easy. The Spanish bishop Diego de Landa admired their industriousness, noting that they bore the main burden of household chores, raising children, and paying taxes. They were surprisingly frugal and even worked at night. However, all women, including noble rulers, considered weaving their sacred duty and privilege. Men were strictly forbidden from this activity, as skillfully woven cotton cloth served as an important element of tribute and even currency, alongside rare quetzal feathers and conch shells. 5. Maya society, family traditions and marriage laws. The Maya lived in large families in compounds consisting of several buildings with terraces. Commoners slept on the floor on mats, and the floor was earthen. Maya cities were connected by a developed system of roads, some reaching up to 2.5 meters in height. Strict marriage rules existed in Maya society. Marriages between paternal relatives were especially forbidden. The Maya knew their genealogies back to very distant ancestors on both lines, emphasizing the equality between them. Paternal lineage was particularly important, as a person's social status depended on it. Noble people Ahawab had to possess an impeccable lineage for many generations back. Interestingly, after marriage, a young husband had to spend 5 to 6 years in his father-in-law's house, working for him, and only then could he build his own dwelling. Among commoners, marriages were monogamous, but polygamy was permitted among the upper nobility. 6. Gender equality and androgyny of rulers. Contrary to our perceptions, women were not subordinate to men in Maya culture. On the contrary, the Maya adhered to the concept of gender complementarity, believing that men and women were necessary for harmony. Lady Cable, for instance, held a higher status than her husband due to her lineage and the title Kalumte, which can be loosely compared to a European empress or supreme warlord. The Maya also believed in the existence of a third gender, combining the characteristics of both. Such individuals were called perfect, and all rulers were considered among them. To maintain an androgynous reputation, rulers alternately wore women's and men's clothing. 7. Rituals and sacrifices. Bloodletting and connection to the gods. Lady Cable, like other Maya rulers, regularly performed bloodletting rituals to establish a connection with the gods and gain their support. In one such ceremony performed in a fiery sanctuary, Lady Cable pierced her tongue and passed a thorny rope through it, inducing a vision in which she saw the defeat of her city and her own sacrifice. Men, in turn, pierced their genitals during such rituals. These rites, though intense, were an indicator of a person's high status and their desire to communicate with the divine. 8. War and the fate of Waka. The Maya were obsessed with warfare, and their battles were accompanied by a terrifying cacophony of shouts, drum beats, and conch shell trumpets. In the Battle of 695 CE, the Snake Dynasty suffered a severe defeat. Lady Cable's brother managed to escape, and her city of Waka, contrary to predictions, was not destroyed and became a vassal of Tikal. This miracle was attributed to the magical powers of Lady Cable, who was believed to have gained the god's support. In memory of this event, a stela depicting the ritual sacrifice was erected. After Lady Cable's death, her tomb was sealed beneath the sanctuary, symbolizing her role as its guardian. Only many years after the deaths of Lady Cable and her husband, in 743 CE, did Tikal conquer Waka. 9. Ghosts, skeletons, and naguals. The Maya spirit world. The Maya believed in the plurality of souls and the existence of Wyob, guardian spirits who protected individuals and could appear as animals, ghosts, skeletons, comets, and even lightning. Sorcerers could transform into their Wyob, and Maya officials even had entire squads of such companions. Maya rulers also had their Wyob, which underscored their connection to the spirit world.